Welcome to this new Spotlight Addon. In this Spotlight Addon we're gonna look at two sceneries which have been just published. It's both Charlotte City and the Charlotte Motor Speedway. For those who are NASCAR fans, famous track. So let's descend a bit because it's already behind us or below us. So we start with flying over the Motor Speedway, and then we will continue our flight to the city. And there it is, nice and shiny in the sun, the Charlotte Speedway. If you looked at the NASCAR, you probably recognize the track, right? So let's go a little bit lower, so let's descend a bit. Pretty steep descent, as you can see. Slow enough. And let's do some track analysis. Based on some previous testing, I could say it's already, I would say, pretty complete. Also some other, it's also some other stuff like, for example, this one. I think this is for drag racing. Correct, and there's some rally things. There's some mud track. So it's not only, I would say, the motor speedway itself, but also all the surroundings. And if you look at the detail, it's pretty, I'd say, detailed, as you can see. Let's fly a little bit lower. And if you're a motorsport fan, it's definitely, I would say, recommendation to add it, of course. Waiting for someone to add the Formula 1 tracks. Maybe you've seen some of the videos I created for certain circuits, flying over it with the helicopter. As you can see, it's pretty detailed, so it's nice quality, I would say. And also not impacting the frame rate too much, it looks like. So it's also always good. So enough of the Charlotte Speedway. Next step is Charlotte City, and Charlotte City lays, I would say, southwest from the track. And you can see on the VFR map that there are some other airports very close by. So I'm gonna turn a little bit further. There's Charlotte City already, as you can see. It's coming up from the on the horizon. So what we will do is we'll use the autopilot in this case. Let me double check if it's set correctly. We first need to keep an eye on the altitude. So let's be changing the heading to this. That's enough. Then we switch on the autopilot. And we're setting the altitude also. Altitude needs to be a little bit higher than 0, of course. So let's set it to 500. Yeah, that's okay. Of course, need to wait till the helicopter is on a certain altitude before it will start doing stuff. So we're now flying a little bit slower, as you can see, so that we can relax and sit back and enjoy the nice scenery around the city and the track. So right, we already left the track behind us. would go with the drone view. The track is already over there, and we're flying to the big city, Charlotte. We're almost at the requested altitude, right? You can see that it starts blinking, so that's good. So then we can push a little bit forward if it doesn't do itself already. Here we go again. So we're increasing speed. 50 knots, 60 knots. Adjusting the heading a bit. This is how you can use the autopilot in the helicopter, right? It's version 09293. That's the latest version of the helicopter being released. It's released earlier this week. We didn't record a video about that. So that's why I'm telling it to you now. You can see some enhancements in the helicopter being made, mainly to the, let's say, behavior of the helicopter. Compared to the previous update, you can see that there are some buttons being removed here. Also on this part, they removed the buttons which are not in use. Although I do think that these buttons are also not working yet, as you can see. But hey, that's not a real issue. First burn on or off. I think that one was also part of the previous version of the helicopter. And now we're closing down in the city, and the city has been fully enhanced. It's a big scenery pack. I think the download itself is approximately 1 gigabyte or something. So a lot of additions have been made to the city, which is really nice, of course. So kudos to the developer who spent a lot of time, both, I would say, creating the Motor Speedway, but also Charlotte City. So once we're close enough, we will switch off the autopilot, of course, and then fly manually. So here the other scenery around Charlotte. Coming very close to it now, as you can see. So let's switch off the autopilot and let's speed up a bit. Not too much, of course, because as we're going into overspeed mode, and that's also not what we want, of course. So here's the city. It's a little bit dark. As you can see. It might be the only comment that it's pretty dark compared to the rest of the buildings, right? If you see, look at the left and then look at these buildings, they are a little bit dark, but let's look at the details. It looks like that they're pretty detailed, as you can see the building below. You can see a lot of detail has been added. I would say it's a huge improvement, especially if you would compare it without let's say without this mod. A soccer stadium probably. I'm not too familiar in Charlotte, to be honest. So it doesn't look like a soccer stadium. So let's have a look from the top. Here's a building. Looks like this one is being demolished or something. Sure. No, it looks like American football, right? There's another stadium there, so let's have a look there. That looks like handball or softball. Probably it's for the NFL, or I'd say the right one would be definitely for the NFL. The other one is really baseball or something. Here in the Netherlands they call it a little bit different. So you can see that the details of the buildings is really nice. You could almost compare it with photogrammetry or even better, I would say. So it's really kudos to the developer who created this. As you can see, frame rate is not a lot impacted, right? So I would say to compare it completely, you should try it with the developer mode on and then switching on the option to view the screen or the graphic numbers like the frames per second, etc. But to be honest, when flying over other cities with photogrammetry, they are, I would say, much more bumping compared to this one. So here ends this quick add-on spotlight. In this add-on spotlight we looked actually at two add-ons, right? Charlotte City and the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And in addition to that we looked, let's say, briefly at the helicopter changes, although there were not so many changes, I would say visual changes. Of course there were several other enhancements being made, so that makes it even more joy to fly the helicopter. If you liked the video, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then feel free to put them below the video in the comment box. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.